What's going on, guys? It's your boy Darian Gilliam, aka Black Lives Matter, here for another edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Cue the intro.
Green flag, green flag. I'll roll. He's flipping me out. Yeah, boys, how about that? They pushed it in the wall. He threw it off the track. Baby, that's how you do it. Get that second flag, son. Yeah, baby, yeah. Hell yeah.
Our guest today is none other than Connor Bunn, one of the co-hosts of the For the Lead podcast. How's it going, Connor?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh, it's great. It's great to finally have you on our show this time. I've been on your podcast twice. Can't wait to come on there again. And yeah, you're going to be out here in Vegas next week too. So that'll be cool to meet you in person. But you had the chance to go to the Roval. How was that?
Dude, it was so fun. We've been to a lot of racetracks this year. We've been to a lot of races this year. And for most of them, we've had access. We've gotten cold passes and worked with the track. Letting us get that access and stuff. But Charlotte was nice enough. It was like the week leading up to it. It's very hard to kind of get in contact with people because they got so much stuff going on. So we were able to reach out to them and they give us cold passes. But little did we know, it was pretty much like a hot pass. We walked in with the crew and we were walking around the garage area and the pits and the infield before the race and everything and stuff. So the access was tremendous, and just the vibe around the track was really good. We went to that race last year, but we didn't have access or anything. We didn't even have the podcast at the time last year. So definitely going back this year and having the podcast and being more involved in the sport was really fun. And it was funny because when we walked, I don't know if they did it to you guys, but when you left the track at Bristol, you had to go go through the ticket scan and line again for them to scan your ticket and stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So this time we just walked out through the track, up through the stands and went to our seats. They didn't even scan our tickets or anything. So we pretty much got to go to the race for free. But oh man, it was awesome in person. Just the racing from the green to the checkered flag was amazing. And obviously, what Elliott did. Timothy, my co-host, is a huge Chase Elliott fan. So being there and seeing his reaction and stuff was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's the first time, well, at least in my lifetime, that I have ever seen like someone just hit the wall head on and then win the race. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it was epic.
Yeah, I don't know. How has that ever been done in NASCAR history?
First time for everything.
Yeah, I think that's the first time ever. But Connor, I know you said the racing was great, but what was it like in person though? I don't know. Give us more detail, I guess. This would be your Roval review.
Yeah. So in person, honestly, I don't know what it looks like on TV. I've never watched a Roval playback on TV or anything, but in person, just the racing this year looked a whole lot better at Roval. It looked like the cars were a little bit closer. I know the leader, we got spread out, but we sat on the front stretch, all the way at the top grandstands, on the front stretch, higher than the spotters. And from that angle, you can see every part of the track. So definitely the cars going through the back chicane, you could actually see them having troubles and seeing the wheels lock up and stuff. And I know on TV and stuff, oftentimes they show the front of the pack, but there was a lot of times mid-pack, guys like Larson and McDowell would come and flying through that first chicane and lock up the wheels and start to wheel hop and get into people that you just really don't see on TV and stuff. So as far as watching the racing in person, it was great because you either had your eyes up front or the middle of the pack was maybe the most interesting to watch because they were all jumbled up together. And, it seemed like all day you had guys like Suarez or Larson or, Elliott, coming through the field and trying to make their way. They just all didn't get spread out. So, it was definitely interesting to see from the start of the race at the front of the pack, them kind of racing up. But really, the whole race through the mid-pack, they were racing hard. Guys like Newman and Almirola and stuff fighting to make their playoff live. So, the racing this year compared to last year, I would say it was a solid 8 out of 10 in person to watch.
That's good.
Yeah, I feel like the Roval is one race that I feel like has become a must-see for fans because it's one of those few road course races where you can see all the way around the track. I haven't been to that many – I've never been to any road course NASCAR races, but I've been to road courses for other series before, and that's the big negative is wherever you're sitting. It's cool that you can move around and get different vantage points, but you can never see more than maybe a third or at best maybe half the track where I've been before. But with the Roval, like you said, you can sit up top and see every turn. You can see people struggle at every different point. You can see all the action spots. If you want, you can sit just as high as you want and see the whole track. And that's like, I don't know of very many road courses in the world. There's definitely none on the NASCAR circuit that you can do that. So that's why I think the Roval honestly is special.
Yeah, I was just a little surprised by the attendance, I guess. But from what I was able to gather up on Twitter, mostly everyone was, they were just hanging out in the infield, I guess. Like, I guess there's, you can see more stuff down there. There's more stuff to do, obviously, during the races, sort of walk around. Because, like, I was looking at the attendance and I was like, damn, like, I was expecting a little bit more. But then everyone else was like, oh, no, it was really hot this weekend. And then, I don't know, we just went to the infield. So that's what I saw on mine. That's what I saw on Eric's. So, but yeah, I was just about to get to Jarrett, but it looks like his camera went out. Are you still with us?
Yeah. I'm still with you, but
right.
The camera decided to zonk out. Anyway, I wanted to bring this up just because it's been the talk of the weekend, or at least the week so far. Did you get a good vantage point of the Powerade throw heard around the world?
No, I didn't actually. So it was funny. Chase Elliott takes the checkered flag, and Ken Squire comes over the PA announcer because he always does the PA announcing for that race.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah, so Ken Squire came over, and a big message popped up on the board, said that there's weather in the area, severe weather, you got to clear the grandstands. So everybody started – well, nobody really left because everybody is Chase Elliott fans. And so everybody was like, woo, I'm ready to die. And nobody left the stands. And everybody was like so focused on Elliott's burnout, which was right in front of us, which was awesome. And from where we were sitting, you really couldn't – I mean, you look down pit road where they parked the cars after the race, and they just looked like ants. So I didn't really get to see any of that until I got to the car and I got on Twitter. And I saw Bubba go up and just absolutely disrespect Alex Bowman and Jeff Gordon like that. So I knew they were going to have words or something like that after the race, but wow, to see him go up and throw Gatorade in his face like that, I was kind of shocked. To be honest with you.
I didn't realize it was Jeff Gordon there too until like an hour later, and I was like, oh, that was
thick.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, like he's a lot thicker than I remembered, but
Jeff,
he looks a little bigger.
Got that dad bod, man.
Yeah, that's that retirement bod right there.
Yeah,
no, I'd say the race honestly was a solid. I'd say a solid 7.5 out of 10. Honestly, I mean, in person, it's obviously amazing, but watching it on TV. Like, I mean, there were times where, like, the racing was just so spread out. It was very single filed. So I'd assume that there was, a ton of action going on, deeper in the pack, running for like, 10th through 15th or like, the top 10 through the top 20 around that area. There's probably more consistent racing since some of those bubble drivers were racing around that area.
I forgot what it's called, but there's like something on NASCAR.com where you can watch sort of the aerial view and certain different cameras.
Race View. I think it's called Race View. Yeah.
Or they have like
free.
NASCAR Drive.
Yeah, NASCAR Drive. It's free though. Yeah, bottom line, it's free though. So you can do that.
There was a lot of racing through the pack because I ever since my fantasy draft where I basically had to watch the race on that for Darlington. Mm-hmm. I've been watching like the race both on TV and with that. Plus it's football season and you get outvoted really quick when football's on.
Yeah.
And so I was watching that while with the broadcast, and it seemed like there was racing throughout the pack, like throughout all the runs. Like I don't get a lot of the people saying that you couldn't pass at all, especially with Chase Elliott going from like 37th.
He could pass anywhere on the track.
Chase Elliott, could have passed anybody that did that.
In person, it looked like he was like 7 to 10 miles faster than everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was 7 to 10 miles faster hitting the wall. That's for sure.
Oh, that's definitely. Yeah.
That's why he hit the wall there. He lost control. He just misjudged it. But I mean, he was still able to make the comeback. And speaking of the playoffs, Ryan Newman unfortunately choked towards the end there. I thought he could have had it, but just misjudged the corner. Unfortunately, it happens even to a veteran like him. So he's out. Kurt Busch was one of the biggest disappointments this playoffs. This first round, had the troubles in Vegas, can't help it. Doesn't rebound at Richmond, and then unfortunately with the Roval, didn't really do much either. Was involved in some wrecks, and then Eric freaking Jones, man, what is his deal, Eric? I don't like he can't find any sort of playoff luck. at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jones did nothing wrong in these playoffs. I don't want to
Yeah.
sound like a total Jones defender, but he literally did nothing wrong in these
Yeah.
playoffs. He had a mechanical failure, then his crew chief gave him an illegal car, and then Kurt Busch wrecked him. So
Yeah.
it just is what it is. It's tough. It's a shame because I think, as we see with his teammates, they're obviously all contenders. I think Jones could have gone to the round of 8.
I thought he could have too. Yeah, but
I picked him
unfortunately,
to.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
He got his contract extension. That was the most important thing this year, is get that at least one more year and try to not have bad luck 3 years in a row. That's
And then-
basically what it's going to come down to.
And then Eric Almirola too had. I mean, I'd say his season was mediocre, but like compared to last year, like everyone thought, oh, he's gonna make the Final Four next year. Some people, had him in their Final Four predictions, and unfortunately, like he's been super quiet this season. He's been super off compared to last year. So I'd have to assume during the offseason they'll probably make a few personnel changes over there, maybe a few tweaks.
It was
over
just SHR in general this year has seemed
down.
up. Even Harvick really hasn't. Yeah, even Harvick hasn't.
Hasn't been quite as good as last year.
Yeah. I mean, he was like at the Kyle Busch, Martin Truex level last year. This year, he's still up there. Don't get me wrong, but he's more around like how Chase Elliott is doing or how Kurt Busch was doing. I think that's just an overall the organization. I think over the offseason might make some changes, switch some stuff around, and whatever else they need to do. But I think that this year is probably more of an anomaly. I think they'll kind of get back to it next year, and that's when you'll see when real changes need to be made. If the team improves next year and Suarez and Boyer and Almirola still don't improve, then I think there should be something to worry about. But I think it's just an anomaly right now. I'd wait till 2020 to start saying that it's like just certain drivers though.
And that being said, Almirola still could have made it in if his crew chief hadn't chosen to stay out on that second to last restart. That was, I mean, at the time, I'm sure it didn't seem like a bad idea, but it turned out to be a really bad idea. So
seemed like a good idea at the time, basically.
I would agree. I mean, I see Stuart Haas this year, with the new, body style and stuff which they brought to the table this year. I expected him to struggle and stuff. So Kevin Harvick, I kind of expected him to see where he's at now. He's one of those guys who I would not be surprised if they made the Final Four. I would not be surprised if they missed the Final Four. He just seems like one of those guys who's in like the second tier type class driver this year, to where he's in the Chase Elliott range, where he's good and he's really good at some times. He's good most of the times, but he's just not quite there with, Truex and Hamlin and well, I mean, Kyle Busch, he's had his struggles here recently, but he's still, 4 wins, top of the points lead. So they haven't been quite there yet, but I would not at all be surprised to see that organization. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kevin Harvick, as I should say, rack off, 5-6 wins next year and really start to click it off again like they did.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Kyle Busch just quit. He was like, "I'm done."
Dude, that was so weird.
I don't blame him. I mean, it was hot in the car. It was under the red flag, and it was like really hot in those cars. And he was like, "Man, I'm out." And he just drives back to the pit road area, like to pit.
Yeah, I don't know if they showed it on TV, but like right when they stopped the cars, he stopped at the tail end of them where he was running, but he like rolled back like 50 to 70 yards and just rolled back. And everybody's like, "What is he doing?" And then he like went forward a little bit, and I guess he was like seeing what was broken in the car or something like that. And then he just hooked her left down pit road backwards, and Ken Squire was like, "And look at this, the 18 car. He said he's had enough. He's quitting."
I don't blame him, man.
He literally
just erupts.
Yeah, it just rage quits.
Yeah, that's he had an IRL rage quit. Man, I'm telling you though, I'm surprised like with your guys' ratings, because I absolutely love this race. I know a lot of people hated it, and a lot of people have been very vocal about it, but man, I was entertained just by the racing throughout the pack thoroughly throughout it. I gave it a 9 out of 10 overall. I don't know about you guys. I know the poll was pretty similar to me, but
yeah, it was a good race.
I'd give it a 9 out of 10 for the reasons like you said. I'm just surprised it's you saying it, Jarrett, but it was very entertaining. I thought early on the racing was a little sloppy, and then briefly towards the end I thought the racing was a little sloppy, but in between racing was still really good, and the sloppiness was still entertaining, albeit sloppy. So yeah, I agree. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It's similar. I would say it was very similar to last year's Roval. I thought it would be. I honestly kind of expected this race to be a little bit of a letdown. I thought that drivers, since they've had a whole year, they've had all this extra time, I thought they might have figured it out a little bit more. Clearly that was not the case.
Nope.
So yeah, who knows? Next year I'm expecting it to be pretty similar to what we've seen the last 2 years.
Yeah, so I want to just show off how wrong my playoff predictions were. The only one I got, the only first round driver elimination I got right was Ryan Newman. But I mean, he barely missed it. And then I had Clint Boyer, Alex Bowman, and Kyle Larson exiting in the first round. And then I had Eric Almirola making the second round, and Eric Jones. And I also had Kurt Busch making the round of 8. So, yeah, not even close. So
I think I only had
1 for 4.
I think I went 1 for 4 too. I think Almirola is the only guy I got right. I think I picked Newman to make it on just his sheer willpower, and he almost did. But yeah, I think I had Byron missing it, and obviously that didn't turn out. He had a better run at the Roval than I thought he would.
I was so off, man.
I can't remember what I had to eat last night, let alone what I picked 3 weeks ago.
You didn't write it down? You always write this stuff down, Jared.
I wrote it down. I just probably threw it away.
Yeah, probably okay, I'll never.
I'm probably going to be wrong anyway. I don't want
They can't prove me wrong if they can't find the evidence. So.
Exactly.
They have to go through a 2-hour stream to do that. But part of the normal 2-hour stream, I think that I can read off really quick is the poll.
The iceberg poll. Go ahead. Do your thing.
All right. So I laid out the goal that we wanted 4,000 votes on it. We did not hit that goal, but we that just long story short. But it was definitely one of the most highly voted ones of the year, second only to Watkins Glen. I wonder if there's a similarity in the highly voted ones. Anyway, so 67% of the 3,500 of you that voted said that it was a great race. 22% said good, 6% average, 2% below average, and 3% of you thought this is a bad race. Now, bad officiating, I agree with, not bad race. Which means that 89% of you had a net approval of this, 5% net negative, with 6% of you fence sitters not choosing. No, but anyway, so some of the comments here, and I have not went through these like I said I would last week. So if I start reading one and stop, you know it was not podcast appropriate. The first one is from Cornbra. I love that name. This is exactly what NASCAR wanted. Lots of wrecks and Chase Elliott winning. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can agree on that.
Yeah,
pretty fair comment.
Let's see. Oh, NRF 2005 says, in the race, Rick Allen thought that Ryan Newman was still on the 12 team.
Yeah, that's right. He did say that. Yeah. The 12 of Ryan Newman. I was like, throwback to 2002 there.
This isn't the first time he's done this, and I thoroughly enjoy that.
I saw like a 10-year-old the other day with a throwback Ryan Newman 12 hat. I couldn't believe it. I was like, were you even old enough? Were you even around? I saw Altel, and I'm like, no way, that's a Newman hat. I looked around, 12. I'm like, oh my goodness, kid.
Wow.
It's funny. I have my old junior shirts when I was like 7 or 8. So one day when I have a kid, they're going to wear to school on like throwback day or something. Be like, oh yeah, so I'm going to give them my 2004 junior shirt.
Yeah.
Let's see. And I see that super chat.
We'll hey, Reverend Rasheem Stewart with the $1. Yeah, sorry, I just want to read it really quick. With the $1.99 super chat, thanks, man. It says Chase Elliott, future NASCAR Hall of Famer, maybe.
That's jumping the gun.
He only has. He only has 6 wins so far, so maybe.
Well, let's just keep it like. Let's keep it like this. Every driver of the drivers who have been rookies from 2009 on, or not? No, after 2000. Is it after 2009?
When
was I saw it on Reddit, so it might not be a. So yeah, after 2009. But again, I saw it on Reddit, so it probably isn't true. But something that like Elliott has the most wins out of all of them.
He's got more than Larson. Yeah, assuming wherever Logano's the cutoff. Yeah, I guess you're right.
2009 was Logano's rookie season.
Yeah, and then 2010 was Kevin Conway, and he's known for much more stiff reason than that. But anyway, Fish Production says podcast. If you don't read Larson's fan comment here yet, go take a look at it. If it's accurate, I haven't seen it yet, but I'll read it. Let's see. I know he was very negative on Twitter, so let's see. Crispy Colonel says 88 got second side-by-side racing. It was amazing.
Amazing.
Let's see. Here's a good one. Dalton Rowdy Bush says the NFL doesn't know what a pass interference is, and NASCAR doesn't know what a caution is.
Oh yeah, there was like 2 unnecessary cautions during that race. There was like 2 or 3 of them. I'm just like, what? Like, why is there a caution for this? Stenhouse
Streamville,
and then
Streamville Speedway with the. I'm not shocked at all at this comment. Please get Haley Deegan on the podcast, Iceberg. We'll work on that.
We'll work on it.
Let's see. Dude, I'm just gonna go down to the bottom. What's the bottom? Oh wait, I saw IDK. He always has a pretty good one.
Yeah, he's the treasure.
IDK put in the script of B movie last week, so it's hard to top that one.
Iconic.
And it seems like the world is ending outside of my dorm room as people scream and scream and scream. I am more than willing to end. I'm more than willing to have. I can't find it. Let's see. Can't read that one because of cussing. Can't read that one because of cussing. Another cussing.
These YouTube preventing us from speaking our minds.
Yeah, come on.
No, I'm on my cussing abstinence right now.
Oh.
So I'm just. Let's see.
That time of the year.
It's that time of the year.
It's that time of the year.
So, good Lord. They're either really long or ones that are just completely redundant. Elliott won. Unfortunately, Byron did not win. Interesting to see the Winston standings after this. Also, tad bit unfair. Kurt Busch getting eliminated. That does suck about Kurt. But, yeah, that's about it. That's about all I can handle. So thanks, guys, for voting. Let's see if we can hit 4,000 for the Talladega race. I think we can do that one.
Yeah, because we know it ain't happening for Dover.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it ain't happening for Dover.
Be lucky to hit 2K for that one.
I'm getting that 2 weeks in advance for Vegas so we can get everybody ready to go.
Yeah. The Black Hole guy with the $2 super chat. Thanks, man. Any car gets slightly loose. NASCAR. Caution. Yeah.
Unless Alex Bowman wrecks in front of the entire backstretch.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless he wrecks on there. But yeah, thanks for the $2 super chat, man.
Or unless Kyle Busch blows a tire and drags the fence for 3 laps and it's no caution. But
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Fontana. That's right. Yeah, NASCAR very selective with those things. So looking at the podcast statistics right now, we have 146 watching, only 43 likes. Make sure to lick the like button.
Got to get to triple digits.
We got Corvette Racing with the $4.99 super chat. He says, if Custer can replace Suarez, then we will have a great rookie battle this year. Yeah, I mean it's already great, and we were gonna get into that a little bit later, but. Yeah, I mean, already have Bell and Reddick confirmed, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, that'd be definitely good for sure. So moving on to the TV ratings for this year's Roval. This year's Roval race had a 1.83 rating, which was down 6% compared to last year's, and only 3 million watching, which was down again 6%. We've been flatlining. So this is basically like flatlining, or it's like down. Jared.
It's down, but I think everyone was expecting it to be a little down with
you can't top
the
last
Roval being so new.
Yeah.
Well, with it being so new last year, I mean, it's interesting also to put that comparatively run at the same time on a Sunday afternoon. It was above 2017's race in viewers. It was still down, I think, 1/10 of a point, which is flat in ratings. So I guess that's if you want to look at a positive there's that. But I don't think it's the end of the world that, the first Roval race outdid this one in TV ratings. It was something so new. We were all kind of expecting it. So I don't think this is anything to like really look down and be like, oh, it's tanking at the end of the year kind of thing yet. It's just it's about normal with what we've had this year. It's nothing out of the normal window we have of ratings.
Yeah, 6% down from last year. I mean, it's hard to top last year's race. And again, like Jared just said, last year's Roval race, inaugural race, it was so new. Everyone was very intrigued, and I think we had a lot of outside interests who are, they don't really watch racing to begin with. So this year, the second year of the race, it's a bit down, but I mean, hey, still had 3 million watching, so not bad.
I would hope at least that now that we've done 2 years of this and it's been, I would say, a fairly positive, entertaining race both times, I would hope that next year, because I know it's not, the schedule's slightly different, but I think the Roval's still in the playoffs next year. I would hope that maybe we could bump those rating ups a little bit next year. Because otherwise, what's the point if it's just going to go down every year? Eventually, that means we're going to stop doing the Roval because it's going to, at some point, become irrelevant. It's got to go up at some point. It doesn't have to get back to where it was 2 years or last year. Just, I'd like to see it go up a little bit or at least stay where it was. Because I like you said earlier, Darian, I was a little disappointed in the attendance. I thought
everyone was in the infield, apparently. Yeah.
Everyone was in the infield, but then where were they last year? Were they also in the infield?
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I understand it was really hot. I guess that's the explanation for it. They have 3 NASCAR weekends a year at Charlotte. I can understand people being burned out. Panthers were in Houston though, so I like they were at the Panthers game, so I don't know where the fans were. That's a little disappointing. But It is what it is. It's ultimately, it looks like it was pretty equal crowd and almost equal viewership from last year's. I guess that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. So, really quick, before we move on to the next topic, let me ask y'all this. Has anyone tried a nice cold can of Kevin Harvick?
I wonder where you're going with that.
I love this. Go ahead with it. I love it. We're bringing games to life.
Yes, so EA Sports is back. I guess so. It's kind of back, I guess you could say. Like they're throwing it back. But no, Busch Beer announced today that it'll be running the Kevin Harvick car instead of the Busch Beer car. So, I mean, Busch Beer's like whole promotion with this, like, well, basically Harvick's sponsoring, he's helping promote his two biggest rivals. So we have to put his name on the car this time. So we're bringing video games to life. So, back in my childhood, we had, a nice cold can of Rusty Wallace, Dale Jr., and Sterling Marlin. And now we have Kevin Harvick in real life. I don't know. Is this marketing genius, Eric, or what?
I don't know. I like that Busch, of all the sponsors that NASCAR has, of all the major sponsors, it's getting the most creative. First with the millennial car, and then the Gen Z X car, whatever car was, I already forgot. So maybe the marketing's not as good.
I think it was the Gen Z,
X.
right? Or Gen X.
Either way, I remember what the car looked like. And so whether it's experimenting with those, whether it's they play so many commercials with the Busch guy every week, bring him to the racetrack, versus now doing this with Harvick. It's interesting. Kevin Harvick, I don't think of him as one of the most popular. He's one of the most popular. He's probably top 5 most popular drivers. But you don't think of him as the most marketable guy in NASCAR. But he's in all those Mobile One ads. He's now got Busch just all over him. He's right now kind of the most marketed driver, I feel like, in NASCAR today. I see those Mobile One ads on ESPN all the time. So, it's just interesting to me. But I do like Busch experimenting. I like them playing with this. And for all of us younger fans who grew up playing the video games, rated E for everyone, so they couldn't show the beer sponsors. It's kind of a fun little throwback. People are having fun with it. So I like it a lot.
And then some of this generation, they sort of understand that because, we also have a nice cold can of Brad K. So still have that. Yeah, I guess that's all we have. But
I love this. I absolutely love it because it's just one of those things where it shows that, going into it, with Busch coming back, it meant that Budweiser was taken out. So you sort of had you're kind of put at odds with a lot of old time fans and stuff. But it's like you look at all of the different ways they're experimenting with it. They're the most experimental and seem to be the most fun-loving sponsor in the sport right now. They seem to be having so much fun with this Kevin Harvick sponsorship and with all the different things that, like you said, the millennial car, the Gen X car, now this. I look forward to seeing what the Busch cars are going to be going forward, because I think next year they have one where instead of just normal Busch Light, it's the Busch all the way down the car. It's like they're willing to laugh at themselves. I like that, and I think next time I'm at a race, I'm definitely going to be buying a little Kevin Harvick beer car.
Yes, and also a nice cool can of David Sturmey too. Almost forgot about him. Yeah, NASCAR 7 right there. Yeah, see, the chat's reminding me of all these other ones.
I don't know I know a lot back in the day. A lot of women really liked a nice cold can of Casey Kane.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did. Yeah, that's right. They did. That's right. Had the little 2Ks on there. Connor, what do you think, man?
Yeah, man, I like the marketing around it. I think they've done a really good job this year with kind of having fun with their sponsor and with his all-star car and the millennial and all that stuff. So, and I think it fits Kevin Harvick. He's, earlier in his career, I feel like Kevin Harvick was trying to be this tough guy and stuff. And, ever since he's had a kid and gotten older and stuff, he's kind of become more lighthearted and more fan-oriented and stuff. So I think it fits Kevin Harvick well. And, I'm on board for it. I like what Busch is doing. I like how they're kind of poking their neck out there in a different way. And, you see sponsorships and, sponsors being so particular of, how the paint scheme looks and where it's at on the car and stuff. So I like how Busch is just kind of going outside the box and just throwing it all out there and having fun with it. And also I think it gets the fans involved too, and it makes the fans appreciate sponsors more and just kind of drives fan interactions. And I'm big on that. Any new fan interaction we can get in the sport, I think is great.
Yeah, because lately I've just been seeing a lot of criticism over the past couple years with sponsors leaving and maybe some sponsors downsizing, their involvement with NASCAR. So it's great to see, at least one sponsor, extending their partnership in many creative ways. So shout out to Busch Beer for that. Make sure to get a nice cold can of Kevin Harvick. I can't do the thing. Harvick. You can't do it. You can't do it like that. With his name.
It sounds like it's no. It sounds like you're opening a Busch Light. That's the whole point.
Oh, okay. There you go.
It sounds like the stream when it's on my channel, just static.
Yeah, so yeah, just basically sounds like static, man. And moving on, so we had more breaking news. Breaking news again. Tyler Reddick to the 8 confirmed. We knew this already. And really quick, Riff with the $5 super chat, thanks man, says, got in trouble in 6th grade for wearing a Dale Jr. Budweiser shirt. Had to turn it inside out. LOL.
I wore a hat like this. I wore a hat like this in school, and I went to like a Catholic school.
Yeah.
And they were not happy. Like, take that off. I'm like, oh, okay. As soon as I go around the corner, right back on. Take that off. Right around the corner, back on.
Yeah.
Funny quick story, slight sidetrack. I might have told this on here before, but when I was in 7th grade, I think it was like 2010, we had to do an assignment where we like gave a presentation as a famous person. We had to dress up as them and everything. And they gave us a list of like 300 names to pick from. And shockingly, there's a few NASCAR drivers, but shockingly, Matt Kenseth is on this list. So I was like, I'm going to go as Matt Kenseth. But he was sponsored by Crown Royal at the time. So I had to think, damn, they're not going to let me wear Crown Royal to my in 7th grade. They're probably not going to. So I had to get creative with it. I just ended up wearing like a purple. I ended up like sticking other logos that he had. Like Matt Kenseth didn't have that many sponsors, but I had to pick the few he did have and like stick them on a purple shirt. Long story short, it was kind of a joke of a costume, but yeah, that's another example of beer sponsors getting in the way of us kids, man.
I think you put on that picture of that or something.
I did a while
Twitter.
back, I think on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Maybe a
remember
year or two
seeing
ago.
that.
That was classic.
I remember wearing a junior costume. It didn't say Budweiser. It was just Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s fire suit for Halloween in like 1st grade. A long time ago. Yeah, a long time ago too.
Yeah, so I have a twin brother. So in elementary school, I went as Jeff Gordon because I was a huge Gordon fan at the time, and my brother really wasn't into NASCAR at all. But it was still at that stage where they wanted us to match and all that stuff. So he didn't want to wear a Gordon one, so he liked the 8 one, and so he ended up wearing a junior one. And I think it just said junior on the front, or like JR, or like kind of like that JRM logo is. But we went as NASCAR drivers, and then there was always this kid. I think it was a grade above me in elementary school. He always wore this Bobby Labonte, like Cheerios, I believe. Was it the yellow when he drove for Petty, the 43 car?
Yeah, it was Cheerios.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he always wore a Cheerios, like one of those like jackets you can get look like the fire suit jacket. He always wore one of those to school, and I would always see him like before school in the cafeteria and stuff. And I was like, wow, like is he actually like a race fan, or like does his parents just like give him that like, oh, this is a cool jacket? But those two things really stand out for me from dressing up, I guess, as a NASCAR driver.
That's awesome. But yeah, back to Tyler Reddick. Yeah, Tyler Reddick to the 8 car in the Cup Series is officially confirmed now. Him and Christopher Bell, battling for the Xfinity title this year, will be battling for the Cup Series Rookie of the Year title. Rookie of the Year has really not meant much in the past couple of years, just because like I don't know. Like this year, Hemrick's gonna win it, but then he's gonna be
He's getting fired.
Yeah, he's getting fired after he wins it. So like, it doesn't really matter like in the grand scheme of things. I don't know, Jarrett. What do you think? Is this like something that can spice up the Rookie of the Year battle? And what are your expectations for Tyler Reddick next year?
It's hard to judge RCR right now because a lot of the time I can't tell if it's the equipment or the drivers. No disrespect to Hemrick or Austin Dillon, but I don't see them in any way as being sort of elite type of drivers.
At least not right now.
I'm going off of the information I've been given the last 5 or 6 years. But
maybe
I honestly think Tyler Reddick, I think, is better than both of them, talent wise. At least he's proven that in, even though RCR's Xfinity program is a lot better in comparison to its Cup program, it's still nowhere near the top one. And for the most part, he's outrunning teams that have better equipment. I think that he can go up, and I think he could be someone that would be one of those outside chance guys of getting in on points. Maybe they'll be in the right position to get a win at some point. But I do think that he will run better than the 2 current drivers have this season.
I think I kind of agree with what you're saying, Jared. Like right now, the guys they've had, Dillon and Hemrick, neither of them are the kind of guys I think can really lead a team. I thought maybe Austin Dillon could show us something this year that we hadn't seen, but he has not. So I've kind of lost faith in them. Tyler Reddick, when Austin Dillon came up into the Cup Series, I feel like he and Tyler Reddick very similar looking in the lower series. I mean, Dylan won championships in the Xfinity, so is Reddick. So I think Reddick, if I'm RCR, they should be excited. I think they should be really thrilled that Reddick chose to come to that team and save them, because otherwise they'd have nothing going for him right now. And Reddick, he's kind of their last ditch effort, I think, at staying relevant. If Reddick doesn't work out, because he's not going to save their team next year, if he can just run consistently, stay maybe in the top 20 in points, doesn't even have to make the playoffs, because I don't know if those cars are playoff contenders right now. If he can just stay consistent, not wreck too many cars, maybe in the next couple of years they can actually rebuild over there. But I wouldn't put too much pressure on him his rookie season. A lot of people I saw in the chat earlier were debating whether he or Christopher Bell will win Rookie of the Year. I think Bell's got a clear advantage over him in terms of equipment right now. I think it's Bell's to lose. Unless Custer goes to SHR, I think it's Bell's to lose at this point. But that doesn't mean Reddick isn't going to have a successful career with RCR. I think he can possibly help develop them into a winning team again at some point, because if he can't, nobody is, because it's not going to be Austin Dillon and it's not going to be Hemrick or anybody else right now. Yeah. They'd have to find somebody else somewhere.
I mean, if Reddick doesn't work out, then it'll just continue the cycle of this guy's moving up, expectations bust, and then they're gone. You know what I mean? I don't know, expectations for next year. Don't really expect Reddick to do much. Maybe have the occasional top 5 run. Maybe one top 5. I'd say maybe 5 or 6 top 10s, and he'll finish maybe 19th or top 20 in the standings.
He ran that race at Kansas this year, a mile and a half. He finished top 10. Yeah. So maybe this package will help even things out a little bit. The cars probably run more similar to Xfinity cars than they used to. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an awesome rookie battle, though. I think
it will be good.
And Reddick in the Cup Series now. That's great. It's great to see.
It'll be exciting. It'll be exciting to at least have 2 rookies in the Cup Series next year. At least two rookies who we feel like actually are Cup Series drivers and ready to go. Because this year, Ryan Preece and Daniel Hemrick, and especially Matt Tiff, I'm not really convinced they're Cup Series guys. So it's just been kind of in the background, something that nobody really cares about, but maybe they can sell a T-shirt. Rookie of the Year contender. I don't know.
Yeah, got to sell something.
We were debating it on our podcast the other day, and Bell versus Reddick in the Cup Series next year, and I was kind of lobbying for Bell, but what kind of came to my head was, Bell has no Cup experience. Reddick has a little bit of Cup experience. Sure, Bell has equipment advantage, obviously. But with Reddick's Cup experience, that could come into play too. He just, may have a better feel for the car, obviously, and stuff like that. But my opinion as a whole on, Richard Childress Racing, I think they've got to establish some direction in the race team. I think right now, obviously with Dylan and Hemrick, they don't really have anybody to carry the banner. The banner is just kind of getting dragged on the ground every week right now.
It's been dragged. It's been shitted on. It's been whatever. I'm sorry.
It's embarrassing for the company too, and I think you see this a lot of the times with the race teams. You have to adapt as the sport grows. I think a recent example is last year with Hendrick Motorsports. We saw them struggle, and I think they were hesitant to adapt. And once they adapted, they've kind of come around this year and been more competitive. Joe Gibbs Racing in the past, when they first started with Toyota and stuff, they were slow starting, but they've come around. Stuart Haas, same way. And I think Richard Childress, an old school type race team. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to the shop. Very old school style run team and stuff. And I just think I don't know if they just refuse to kind of adapt their ways and bring in new people and really enhance their equipment, or they just don't have it would be really hard for me to imagine that they just don't have the power and they don't have the money to do that. But it just seems like they're hesitant to adapt. And if you don't adapt in this sport, you're quickly going to get passed up and teams are just going to absolutely shit on you. So I think that's one of their issues right now, that and their driver. I mean, you look at the drivers they've given up over the past few years, Ryan Newman, Kevin Harvick, I know he wanted to step away, but they've had a bunch of talent and they've had a bunch of guys that could have pointed them in the right direction, but they haven't filled those seats with the talent that they need, right?
Yeah.
So I think they're struggling a lot with that. And I think, with Reddick going there, I think that's a really great move for them. I think he's a guy who can kind of point them in the right direction as far as, winning every week and being contender. That'll be just something we'll have to see. But I think from, a standpoint of putting the right driver in the seat, I think Reddick is going to do well for them next year. And, who knows? Maybe going forward he'll be a solid contender going, next 5-10 years.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate too. RCR only 2 wins, excuse me, only 3 wins since 2014.
Mm-hmm. And you brought up a good point there, Connor. I do agree with you. I think it is something to do with Richard Childress as being one of the more old school owners. But I do also, like you said, with the fact that they've been unable to keep guys like Harvick and Newman in recent years in favor of Austin and Ty Dillon. I'm not convinced Richard Childress is really making his decisions based on what's going to make his race team better.
Just
fan. I think it is literally just wants to get his grandchildren in the Cup Series, and no harm in that. You got the connection. It's your money. You spend it how you wish. But if I'm an employee at RCR, if I'm a sponsor of RCR, I feel like I'd see that and just I would not be convinced that Richard Childress is doing everything to make the team better.
It's like, what are we doing?
What was that from, like, one of Biggie Small's 10 crack commandments? It was like commandment number 7, keep your money and your family completely separated. I mean, it seems to be the case because, I mean, we see Richard Childress at the track, and we've talked with him before. And when he does, his interviews at the track and stuff, like, a lot of the times he says, I'm just enjoying seeing my grandkids live out their dream and stuff. So, and I hear that and I'm like, well, this is great. You're seeing your grandkids live out your dream. But then from a business standpoint, I don't know how people are around him and are close to him and has, kind of power over RCR aren't like, this is not doing the right thing. And also another thing, I don't know if bringing Andy Petrie in-house was a great move. Andy Petrie is also another old school guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the right move for the organization. Sure, for nostalgia's sake, it's great. But as far as bringing him in to develop the company as a whole, I'm not sure if that was the best move.
With all this talk of old school teams, it's making me think because, like, the average age of a NASCAR Cup Series owner is what, like 60 something. Like, these guys are super old. But, like, teams like Penske, Stewart Haas, Hendrick, they've been able to adapt, and some have slid back a little bit, and then some have made tremendous strides. But I don't know, RCR though. I mean, they haven't won a championship since '94. Kevin Harvick towards the end there hid a lot of their deficiencies, like especially towards the end there.
I think it's crazy that the 2 good veteran drivers they've lost in the last decade, Harvick and Newman, didn't just leave. They both left after like ugly exits. Like remember Newman at Phoenix at the end of last season, just going off on his team. Like they're losing veteran drivers, not just quietly. Harvick going at it with Austin Dillon in the Truck Series. It's just they're leaving on like bad terms. It feels like that's just a good look. If you're another veteran driver, like how Roush was able to bring in Newman this year. If I'm another like Kurt Busch, if Kurt Busch say his contract ends with Ganassi, which I don't think it will, but say he leaves Ganassi but still wants to race, he's not going to RCR, and that's the kind of guy that RCR needs to be able to attract. But I wouldn't go to RCR given their history with past veteran drivers.
Yeah, haven't been relevant really since 2014, as someone in the chat put. So hopefully they get it turned around, and hopefully Tyler Reddick can become a future superstar. If not, unfortunately, that is another bus video I will have to make, and I don't want to make it though.
I just hope he runs competently enough to have a shot at another at a Ganassi ride or a Hendrick ride.
I mean, I said on the podcast I would have rather seen him go to Roush, honestly, because like Roush is looking like they got their stuff together now. So on paper right now. So we'll have to find out next year.
I mean, to me, looking at this move, it's either going to be, for Reddick's sake, it's either going to be a game changer in where the direction the company's heading, or it's going to be an audition for a future ride.
Yeah.
And there's really no in between, because with how NASCAR is run nowadays, and we have these old owners and the way the sport adapt, it don't matter which way you slice the pie. It's all about the people you surround yourself with, and it's all about the people with the organization that's going to make the company better. And I think, next year, I think, RCR just has to make a bunch of wholesale changes because, like you guys pointed out, the ugly exits from the veteran drivers, I think, really exposed a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff with RCR. So it's like, to me, it makes me think, when is enough going to be enough to where, the execs and, the president and everybody, kind of has to sit down at that round table and say, okay, we gotta slash this, and this to clean up all these areas that are just hindering our team and our drivers from growing.
Well, I mean, it's been 5 years. I mean, really, 2014 was a good season for them. And then 2015, like from 2015 on down, it's really, nothing but, failures with only a few successes here and there. Really quick, Corvette Racing with the $2.99 super chat. Thanks, man. You should make a bus video on Daniel Suarez. No, he is not a bust yet. So let's just give him some time here. I know he missed the playoffs. Let's give him a few more years, and we'll see what happens. Like, I know he's an Xfinity champion, but I don't know. He's not as bad. He's not as bad.
Too risky to declare a guy in good equipment like that a bust, because you just never know. It could all click one year, and all of a sudden he could win several races.
Like 8 races or whatever. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, not that I'm saying it's going to happen, but it happened to Logano. Logano kind of didn't look that great a few years, stayed in good equipment, and turned it around. So
yeah.
I just want to point this out. I don't know if any of you guys heard, but Timothy was telling me today in the car that Logano's team was lobbying with NASCAR. I don't know if it was Saturday night or Sunday morning before the race, that if they got a big enough lead, they could blow both chicanes, like catch the penalty and still have the lead. Like intentionally just drive through the back chicane and the front chicane, serve the penalty, and still have the lead towards the end. And NASCAR completely shut that down.
Well, of course they did. I wonder why.
I laughed hysterically at that. Like, why would you like blow like even ask NASCAR?
I wonder why. Wow, that's weird. Wow, that's one of the dumbest like things to ask.
What a hypothetical! Like, say we have a 20-second lead. Can we just miss the chicane and take the penalty? Like,
and then they're like, no. It's like, no, don't ask that again.
Weird.
If you blow the course, you got to lose positions. If you take a penalty, they're like, oh.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. Thanks for telling us that. That's what I never heard that. Yeah, that's an interesting story. Moving on. So
hey, really quick. I think you skipped over one. By the way, that list isn't in the numerical order. Bowman versus Bubba.
Oh yeah, that's right. Bowman versus Bubba. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's all the way down here on the list. See, I have the same list as Jarrett because he sent it to me, and I just been going.
Darian doesn't realize that I literally will just be scanning the list and know the order, even though I wrote it completely out of order.
Yeah, I just go straight in order. So I'm like, oh.
The first topic is always first, but then they'll be like, oh yeah, so the second page is the second topic. Order is not something that I am very good at. Anyway. So Bubba versus Bowman.
Yeah, so I don't know. Bubba Wallace got very frustrated with Alex Bowman during the race. It was flipping him off. Like, that's usual, I guess, in Cup racing, as Kyle Petty pointed out, and it's been the norm for a while. And also just racing in general, pretty much. Like, I've seen people flip off each other at the bull ring like so many times. So, and then like afterwards they'll like have a beer and just laugh about it. But Bowman didn't like that. He didn't take too kindly to that. So then he just freaking straight up turned his right rear, and he ended up spinning. Bubba did. And then after the race,
into the wall.
Yeah, into the wall. He
didn't just spin. He got damage from it.
Yeah, into the wall. Yes. And then after
door
the race,
side, driver's door side.
Yeah, driver's door side. I mean, that's never safe. That's never safe either.
Mm-hmm.
And so after the race, Bowman was, he was exhausted, from that second place run. Barely made it into the playoffs. Just barely got that second place finish. And Bubba walks over while he's while the medical team is attending to him. Also, Jeff Gordon's there, probably telling him, what a great job he did, seeing how he's doing. And then Bubba, with that blue Powerade, which, by the way, is my favorite flavor. Blue Powerade there, Mountain Blueberry.
Thanks for the detail.
Had to put that in there. Put in a little plug. Powerade, come sponsor me, man. Anyways, he comes over with his blue Powerade, says a few things, then, says the B word, and then just freaking, starts splashing him, too. And then Bowman's looking like, what? And then Gordon, got splashed, and then the medical team lady got splashed there, and then I'm assuming one of Bowman's crew guys said, "Oh, smooth move, dude," and then Bubba just walks away, just doesn't care. And it's there's been a lot of debate over this too, especially on Sunday and Monday. I put in my 2 cents, and so did Eric, and so did Jarrett, and Connor as well. I don't know, man. Eric, why don't you start off here? Just overall thoughts on this. Was Bubba in the right and the wrong, and is this really a non-issue, or is this a major issue?
I'll keep it quick. But starting with on the track, the incident, I completely understand why Bubba Wallace would be mad, because in theory, what all he did was give him the finger for probably a couple different times. And then he got wrecked. He straight up got wrecked while running. I think they were inside the top 15.
Mm-hmm.
Bubba was having a shockingly solid day at the Roval. So I can completely understand why Bubba Wallace was frustrated. And I also understood, I think Kyle Petty tweeted this, and I often do not agree with Kyle Petty, but I agreed with him here because a lot of people were jumping on Bubba, including myself, because it was not a good look to see for Bubba Wallace to go hit a guy while he's down. Alex Bowman literally sitting on the ground with medical people around him, making sure he's okay, to splash the water and then immediately retreat, as in you're not even going to let the guy retaliate or say anything in response. That's not a good look for Bubba Wallace at all. However, I kind of understand this perspective as well. Alex Bowman was feeling sick all weekend. He still started the fight. If Bubba Wallace had started the fight on the track, I can understand Alex Bowman just being like, dude, why are you doing this? I don't want a part of this. I'm sick. But the problem is you can't punch a guy on the track and then, use the excuse of I'm sick, which Alex Bowman has not made that excuse. He, as far as I actually applaud how he's handled it entirely, he has not made any excuses and like really come after Bubba since then in any significant way. So I think he understood. I think he understood that he had something coming. And from the outside, though, watching a guy splash water on somebody and walk away when they're clearly not feeling well, that's just a bad look in general. That being said, I won't go on lay into Bubba too much because I do at least like the passion. I like that he's willing to show that emotion and get people like us to talk about it and create more engagement with the sport. Because when people do things like this, we get to debate whether we agree with it or disagree with it. I think that's an important distinction too. I think a lot of people feel like, at least on social media, that if we hate on a guy when they show emotion, that means we hate that they're showing emotion. No, I think I like when people show emotion because we can debate about whether it was right or wrong. I think you can dislike, you can say, oh, that was out of line, but still be like, keep doing it though. We still want people to keep doing that because we want to be able to see that. We want to have villains. We want to have heroes in the sport. Not saying that Bubba Wallace is not going to be a villain to people, but to some people he will be. And I think that's good. But I think it's good to have villains and heroes when you're watching a sport like this. So I kind of just feel like I talked in circles, but that was my general reaction. Not a good look for Bubba Wallace, but I understand why he was frustrated. I feel like he could have settled it in a better way, or at least in a more professional looking way. But at the same time, that's Bubba Wallace. If that's really who Bubba Wallace is, which I think it is. I think that is who Bubba Wallace is. He says things and does things sometimes, I think, without thinking. And some people are going to like that because it's in the moment, it's heated, it's how he feels. Other people aren't. And I think that's good as well. I think people need someone to root for and also someone to hate.
Bubba Wallace, man, he's got that attitude, and I like attitude, man. I like that attitude, dude. Like, he's been like this ever since the K&N West days, or East days, excuse me. He got into this fight with Brett Moffitt at Bowman Gray Stadium, and he freaking shoves a cop. Freaking pushes a freaking cop, a freaking police officer, to get to Moffitt, and then the officer was looking like he was about to put him in handcuffs and stuff. Like, Bubba doesn't care in the moment, dude. Like, he doesn't think. But I don't know, this incident though. I mean, come on, like when I first saw it, it's very entertaining. But then I don't know, like what was Bub like? What'd you guys want Bubba to do? Like, punch him while he's down there? You know what I mean? Like, and then some people were like, well, just don't splash him with the water and stuff. And then I don't know. It's like, it's very entertaining to me. And then I saw some people just saying like, well, I'm mad because he got the medical team and Jeff Gordon wet and all that stuff. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm like, all right. Like, yeah, I understand that to an extent, but at the end of the day, it's like, you didn't hit anybody. Still, it's technically assault. I guess if you want to go by, technically assault. Yeah, he technically did assault, but, Bowman, I guess, I guess if we want to go by the technical definition here, but I don't know. Bubba Wallace, man, he's a character. And then really what struck me is his post-race comments where he was like saying like, oh, Bowman's using the sick card and how he wouldn't, and how he was going to beat the shit out of him and stuff. And I was like, oh, this guy. I love Bubba, dude. Bubba's my dog. That's my guy, man. That's my driver. But, still, Bowman's over it. I'm assuming Bubba's probably over it too. Bowman's moving on to the playoffs. Bubba's, just riding around there. So I think as the weeks go on, it's really going to be a non-issue and something we'll talk about maybe later on down the road. But as a memory thing. But I don't think it's going to carry over. No. Bubba says he's Bowman says he's over it. And he's ready to move on, and which he should, because he's in the playoffs, he's in the round of 12, so for the first time in his career, so he needs to focus on that. But as far as Bubba though, was having a good run, got taken out, and he was just upset about it.
Oh, dude, it's going to be taken up to 11 when someone brings an icy to the track.
No, I know, bring an icy.
Death by Slurpee.
Yes, I'll be honest here. I loved it. I love having this kind of stuff. It's Powerade. What did Bubba put something in it or something? So we need to charge everyone, charge him for assault, blah, blah, blah. People on both sides overreacted with it. Was it professional? Hell no, it was not professional. No. Not professional in the slightest bit. Was it entertaining as hell? Yes. Yes, it was. Did Bowman deserve it? Debatable. I say yes.
Yeah, I agree.
The way I kind of weigh it, someone tagged me in a tweet, and then, it was like a quote tweet of somebody else. I'm like, hey, that explains how I feel perfectly about this. What's worse? Getting splashed when you're overheating with a cool drink, or getting put door side into a wall at 100 miles an hour?
I don't know. No,
That's a good point.
The drink was worse.
You
The
know,
drink was
and
way
it's like,
worse.
listen, it's not, it's not professional. It's not something like that's going to be a great look for the
It
sport
looked
or for
childish
anyone.
from the
It did.
outside.
It looked very childish. At the same time, though, a lot less was settled with a pistol back in the day. Like this is the history of our sport is fights about stuff that honestly did not warrant fights of whatever magnitude they were.
And now we're complaining about Powerade throwing.
Well, no. Powerade is a problem, or water Powerade, whatever.
Free advertisement.
It could have been a glass of milk for whatever we know. But people are having a problem with this, but they were completely fine with Jeff Gordon, fighting Brad Keselowski over minimal contact. They were fine with, Newman getting punched by Boyer, Rock'em Sock'em style.
They were also.
He was still sitting in the car. And I get that it's not all the same people complaining, but it's one of those deals where it's like, you can't just sit silent on some issues and then something that, in my opinion, is much, much less and then go off on it.
That's true. This feels like a bigger deal than the Newman Boyer thing, and I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Like, is it because the Lord and Savior Jeff Gordon got hit or something? Like, what is it?
Well, it's crazy. Well, I mean, I'm not surprised by the overreactions because I tweeted out a meme like, oh, NASCAR is, when someone says NASCAR isn't a sport, and then all of a sudden, no, NASCAR's not a sport, it's a sanctioning body. I'm like, okay, so then, like, we're pretty much just going to complain about everything.
It's implied.
Yeah, it's implied, but, so yeah, I'm not surprised by it. I mean, again, these are the same fans. Well, most of these fans are the same fans who say, hey, we want the sport to be less family friendly, like back in the day. We want fights. We want cussing. We want, a ton, people to wreck each other on purpose, like, all that stuff. And I'm like, so you want that, but you can't handle, someone just like pouring water on another driver after the race. I mean, come on.
Life's too short to spend a week and a half or a half a week being upset about Powerade.
Like, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it, man. It's entertaining.
Like,
it's
I get in the moment people being upset, especially people who are Bubba or Bowman fans. I completely get being upset in the moment. But some people that are just like I saw in the chat, like, he needs to be charged for assault. And it's like, dude, like, come on, guys. Like, there are so many more things to be upset about in life right now. Like, this is not one of them, Chief.
Yes.
Like, come on.
It maybe wasn't the most ethical approach to doing that, and I'm a believer.
The funniest approach, though.
Yeah, I'm a believer if you start to finish it, right? So, like, Bowman turn him, like, compare it to this. You wouldn't see someone on crutches go up and punch a buff guy in the face and expect to not get hit back. So, like, like. Both drivers, in my opinion, gotta have a little bit more composure. Like, you can't turn everybody who's flipping you off, and you can't worry about that while you're racing when there's a greater common good to be achieved and stuff. But think about it this way: like, we see the outpour from NASCAR fans. It's like like, well,
no, they're complaining.
I saw a lot of people like, yeah, but like then again, like, there's always going to be those people. But like, replace Bubba with Kyle Busch in that situation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, you guys would be fine with that, probably. Yeah.
Like what happened? Does it get fined? Does it get parked for a week? Like, what are we doing here? So I think it's character based in NASCAR a lot of the times. But I thought it was funny. I didn't really care that Jeff Gordon got splashed. Like, you don't go to not get splashed, but it was just one of those incidences, and I thought it was funny. It was entertaining. It was a good little spliff to add to the end of the race. That in the most Bubba Wallace fashion thing to do. Like, what would you expect anything less from Bubba like that?
No, that was about accurate.
This is gonna.
Just saying you sounded like Pennywise.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. That's what I was going for. Actually. Thank you. That's exactly what.
Oh my god!
But
go
ahead. You go first.
The funniest thing about this whole deal had nothing to do with either of them personally. Was all the people on Twitter going, "I lost so much respect for Bubba.
I lost so much respect."
I'm like, you know what? You know who doesn't care out of everyone else cares least about your respect?
And who
Bubba
is it?
Wallace.
Yep, he does not give.
He doesn't care. Who cares about your respect?
Yes.
Like, you're a nobody on Twitter. I'm a nobody on Twitter.
Yes, I'm nobody.
Nobody cares about us.
Yeah, like nobody gives a damn. Like who cares?
I love this. It's so funny, man. It is funny. I love it.
I felt like a nobody until I defended NASCAR YouTube on Twitter last week, and then Twitter showed out for me a little bit.
Yes. If you missed that last week, guys, some journalists were getting after some of the YouTubers, and I'm like, damn, like
just living the life, having fun.
Just living the life, having fun on Twitter, man. Just I'm having a fun, and then the fun police come in and try to rain on my fun. But, and this is like the same, sort of the same thing too. There are, fans. Let's just enjoy this. Let's just enjoy the entertainment, and we'll have to wait and see if Bowman is emotionally scarred by this. Will this affect his playoff hopes?
This is 2 weeks in a row. Bowman has gotten into it with somebody who's not even on his level. Like last week with Austin Dillon.
But Bowman, man, now he's emotionally scarred, dude. So like now, is he gonna make it past the second round? Is Bowman gonna make it past the second round now? Is he gonna? How is he going to overcome this?
Stop! I need talking points for my show. Don't make fun of them.
How is he gonna?
Gotta fill the air with something.
I just see Bowman behind the wheel. Respect my authority.
Riff with the $2 super chat says, if you lost respect for Bubba, you're fragile AF. Yes, I agree.
Well,
I think you can lose some respect for a guy. Like I said earlier, you need a villain. You can definitely look at it and be like, "Ooh, it wasn't the best way to handle it." I didn't, you don't.
No, I think what
he
means, like, well, no, I think that's what he means. Like, if you lost a ton of respect or respect,
obviously, then I think you're fragile.
Yeah, come on, man. Like, get over it, dude. Like, you're fine with pit crew members beating up each other, drivers. Casey Mears and Marcus Ambrose punching each other in the face. Oh, little gay raid. Oh, no, we have to stop this. We have to stop this right now. See, look at that. See, Connor's. See, take a drink. I'm assaulting myself right now.
Well, we got to punch through right now really quick is the lightning round. So
that's right. We're at the top of the hour. So really quick, let me take a look at the likes. So far we have 140 watching, only 72 likes. Make sure to click the like button. And now,
I gotta go at the end of this lightning round, so make sure y'all get to 100 likes before I have to log off. Unfortunately, I can only make it for the first half tonight. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's all good, man. I'm just happy to have you back, man. I missed you, dude.
Yeah. I want to come back consistently. 2020, I'll be back much more consistently. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and hopefully Danny will too. Danny couldn't make it because he's preparing for his wedding, which me and Jared.
He's got important things.
So yeah, got important things going on. Got bills to pay and all that stuff. All right. Yeah. So now, Jared, moving on to the lightning round. Go ahead, boy. Do your thing.
All right. It's going to probably be a bit of a short one. So let's start off. I know I said it last week, but just because of why, I'm going to say it again. Patricia Driscoll is sentenced to 1 year in prison for stealing $900,000 from a veterans fund. Screw you. NASCAR is changing the name of the Gen 7 to the next gen car. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of see this as COT 2.0.
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. Gen 7 just kind of, I like it rolled off the tongue. I like Gen 7. I don't.
Next gen. Gen 7. Next gen.
Yeah. It's gonna date it the way COT does. Because I know so many younger fans now. They're like, "What's a COT? I thought that was the Gen 5." I'm like, yes. Anyway, Corey LaJoy and his wife Kelly are having a baby. So congratulations to Corey. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah,
so
awesome guy.
If you haven't already, just wish him congratulations, I guess. Now this last one's pretty cool too. Dale Jr. had a documentary on Dirty Mo Media's YouTube channel about his return at Darlington, and while it was really well put together, definitely check out the last couple minutes with the behind the scenes stuff. He talks about the fans, and it's pretty cool. It's a really cool deal. It's something that I think a lot of fans, no matter who you root for, you'll enjoy. But that's about it, because most of the other stuff we have to get in depth more with talking about.
We do.
In the lightning round.
And that
Darian, do you think?
Yeah, that concludes the lightning round.
NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Unfortunately, that concludes my return for this week. But it's been good talking to you guys. I'll try to be back. Probably not next week, but hopefully sometime. At least I can be back on a couple more times in October. That's the goal. But if not, good talking to you guys, and we'll keep in touch.
All right, cool.
Real quick, who's your win pick?
My win pick for Dover. Oh, I hadn't considered this. I'm gonna go with the Gibbs car. I think Hamlin gets back on. I think he was my championship pick when the playoffs started. I think we need Hamlin to get that momentum built back up. I think Toyota's been good at Dover, so I'll go with him.
Picking Dennis.
I don't even remember who won at Dover at the beginning of the year.
Truex.
Was it Truex? That's what I thought. I almost picked Truex.
Bowman finished second because Danny B would not stop talking about it. I remember that. he wouldn't get over it.
I'm just gonna write down Alex Bowman is gonna be Danny's pick. I know he's not here right now, but I know my co-host well.
Yeah, might as well just write it down right now.
All right, y'all have a good rest of your show. Nice seeing you, Connor.
Hey, nice meeting you, man.
All right, take it easy.
Have a fun one, y'all.
Catch you later.
See you, Eric. What's really funny about Zoom is that it takes longer to come off, so that you have to sit there for a minute, like going off after you say bye, and it's really awkward.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. By the way, there's another story that I didn't actually put on the list. That's about the K&N race. We'll talk about it a little later. So stop spamming the chat,
dude. I've seen. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen it. Are you guys gonna talk about it? You gonna talk about? I'm like,
we will.
I'm like, we will because you guys. I've said it so many freaking times that we gotta talk about it. But yeah. Okay.
But not right now.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about something else. It's sort of in the same area code, if you get my drift. So NASCAR and ARCA have a new format for 2020. 4 championships. So ARCA is now going to be it's going to be separated into 4 different categories now. So the ARCA Menards East and West will be it'll be the new K&N East West. The schedule consists of around 6 to 8 races. The ARCA Menard Series will have a 20 race season. A mix of the same national tracks, Daytona, Charlotte, etc., and of course some of the local speedways like Elko Speedway and a few others that they all already run at. The ARCA Racing Showdown is going to be this big event. It's going to be this big time championship event where it'll consist of 10 races within the larger ARCA Menard Series Championship. It'll feature the best of the 3 series and also coming together to crown one showdown champion. I gotta say, I'm pretty intrigued by this. I'll just get my opinions out first. I expected this coming. Like last year when NASCAR announced they were buying ARCA, I'd assumed they would just combine it with like the current K&N series now. I mean, just because like the car counts for like each of these 3 series have been super low. So it's good to see them, try and improve the car counts in some way. And then also now we finally have everyone under one umbrella because, K&N East and West was like over here. ARCA series was never, ARCA was never officially NASCAR, but everyone just assumes like, hey, NASCAR somehow owns it and stuff. But no, like now they officially own it. So everyone's under one umbrella. Everybody gets to race against each other to see who's the best. That's what the showdown's for. And man, talk about a huge upgrade to grassroots racing. And I also saw a few people on social media just saying, well, like RIP to ARCA. Like, I mean, ARCA is like, yeah, like I guess like, this era of ARCA is over, but like this new era that's going to be starting in 2020 is going to be fantastic with all the series combining.
Well, be completely honest here. Like, yeah, we have ARCA more for sentimental reasons. We're upset that it's kind of going away the way it was. But be completely honest, who was really watching ARCA races? And were the ARCA races really that good?
No, man. I mean, I would watch it from time to time. And honestly, the only races I've watched this year, Daytona. You have to watch the Daytona ARCA race every year. And the one Haley Deegan raced at Pocono. And I watch a few of the short track ones on Map TV here and there, but some of these races have just been snoozers. Like the Michigan race was just a flat out embarrassment. Like I think Michael Self won by like 5 or 10 seconds, and then like there was like 4 entries. They weren't even ARCA cars. They were Richard Petty driving experience cars. Like they just took a lap and then they pulled right in. They just took a lap. So me and Jarrett need to find a way to get one of those rides then, because then we can get on Racing Reference. But back to the point though. But back to the point here. I mean, it's great to have this series back, or at least combine them, and to have bigger car counts too. And I mean. ARCA too, like I'd have to assume that they were willing to sell like that, like to be under NASCAR's umbrella, because I mean stock car racing as a whole has been going down. It's been on a steady downward trend since the early 2000s. All of motorsports have, and ARCA. I've always looked at it as the NASCAR is the NFL of stock car racing, and ARCA is just like the Canadian football or the Arena Football League of stock car racing here. So it was gonna die out sooner or later with these low car counts, and with less funding coming into it.
What do you know ARCA most for?
ARCA brakes, ARCA crashes. I certainly don't
There you
remember
go.
it. And also Austin Terrio too, because of Kamikaze.
Well, yes, but I'm talking like growing up. Like ARCA as like the comedy hour.
Yeah, it was
watching
like
everyone rap.
It was a comedy hour, but then like at the same time, it was a development series. Like we saw a lot of young, future superstars get their start up in there. But then like as the years go on, ARCA
We
brakes.
saw junkyard development.
Yeah, like junkyard development pretty much. And also like ARCA brakes, honestly, it's kind of outdated. I don't really remember like the last time I remember ARCA brakes being like a real thing was like really in the early 2000s, man. Like over the past few years, the talent levels it's spectacular in that series. Michael Self's dominating. You got Haley Deegan running in there sometimes. Harrison Burton and Todd Gilliland just straight up kill everybody every time they enter the races. So it's like, oh, okay, no reason to watch Harrison Burton or Todd Gilliland's in here. So all right, I'm just gonna tune out because they won. It's over. But you have a ton of interesting stories there. I don't know. ARCA's been. Some people look at it as comedy hour. Some people think it's the best series out of, the K&N East and West. I don't know, depending on who you ask.
I think I'm a fan. K&N's grown on me a lot this past year. I cannot confirm nor deny that's because Haley Deegan, but we went to the K&N East race at South Boston this year, and I loved it. I thought the racing, K&N this year, we all know it's kind of been a circus. It's like leader gets dumped. It don't matter. It's like you're just getting dumped. I don't know if you guys watched the race from what was it, Meridian this past?
Oh, we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, that was just a joke to me. But I've enjoyed K&N this year. I think they've got a lot of talent in there. I think Sam Mayer is a real deal. I think Haley Deegan is a real deal. Derek Kraus. Is obviously a good driver too. So
don't forget Jagger Jones. Jones. He's good too.
Jones too. Yeah, they've got a lot of stout kids in that division, and it's a lot of talent, and it's fun to kind of watch them develop. And something I've kind of taken interest in this year is really focusing on the young talent of the sport, and then watching them develop into maybe getting a future cup ride. To me, I don't know why, but I find that interesting. Is just to really look at this young talent and see what they can become. So, the K&N, both East and West series of it has grown on me a lot this year.
The East is a lot better than the West, though, racing quality wise.
Yeah,
racing wise, it's a lot better.
Yeah,
as last weekend pointed out. Just proved my point.
So, and then Corvette Racing pointed out. Don't forget Ty Gibbs either.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs, Chandler Smith. Who else is there?
There's so many. That's the thing.
That's the thing. There's so many right now.
Well, there's so many that are both very talented and very likable at the same time.
Chase Cabry too. Yeah, him.
Yeah,
him too. There's just so many right now, and there's going to be a ton in the future to come. With this whole merger thing. So, I don't know. I'm thinking about the cost to run an ARCA and a K&N East and West team. I would have to assume this merger would maybe somehow cut down the cost of maybe running, possibly. Maybe with less races on the schedule for some of these teams to run. And, I don't know.
It'll all depend.
Yeah, I'm thinking outside the box here.
I don't think the East or West is going to be affected really in any way. I think they're going to let that operate as it has been just because it was already under the NASCAR umbrella for the most part.
Yeah.
As for the ARCA part of it, I could maybe see if more NASCAR-related sponsorship other than Menards is involved with it, that they might have more money pushed into it. But I think that's more something that I guess we'll find out more later on. This is the first really we've been hearing of the definitive restructuring of the whole ARCA series and all four of them now. So I think we'll get more details throughout October, November, December, so on.
Yeah, I think it's the money side of it, what's going to be pumped into the sport and what we're going to try and cut in the sport. And I also think from, NASCAR's point of view, they want to, obviously up the car count of some of the races and put on a better quality racing for the fans and something that, kind of the fans who don't watch those series can kind of, latch onto because there is so much talent down there. And I think that NASCAR really wants, fans to pay attention to them too. So, yeah, I think it, money and just the fact that NASCAR wants people to really pay closer attention to these series is a big factor of it. And people like, Ty Gibbs and Haley Deegan, I mean, they're very active on social media, as are a lot of these guys too. So I think it's easier to get behind guys like that who are young, especially, young fans too. So I definitely think it'll be interesting next year. Yeah.
Hey, Jarrett, was that your roommate there making that noise?
No comment. Anyway, I don't know. Is there really much more we can kind of cover with that? Because I'm telling you, I think this is a story that's the announcement is the least intriguing part of it. The most intriguing part of it is
how it'll
what
play
comes
out.
next.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting times, in ARCA and the K&N East and West Series. Well, now Menard. So, and also huge shout out to Menards for putting this whole deal together, or at least sponsoring. Like, I mean, they're single handedly keeping ARCA alive, and now they basically get to have get to sponsor the East and West Series there. And Jared had to mute his mic. Bro, he's been having all jokes aside though, he's been having problems all the time with his roommates are just there,
oh man,
yeah, someone's always talking, even when we're
we're good.
Yeah, we're good now. Okay, we're good. But yeah,
we're good.
ARCA, I mean, ratings for the ARCA series went up last year. Also, ratings for the K&N East and West series went up last year too. So I'd have to assume ratings would either flatline or stay go up with these changes. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, as Boney's puts in the chat, live show problems. LOL. Yes.
Yeah, live show problems.
Yeah. Live show problems.
I guess we can get into the big story.
I guess we can get into the big story since everyone's like, hey, let's talk about Deegan. Let's talk about Deegan. Talk about Haley Deegan here. Okay, fine. So, what's the speedway's name again? Meridian, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Meridian Speedway, they raced. The K&N West Series raced there on Saturday night. And it was a shit show. I'm not going to lie.
To say the least.
I'm testing abstinence. Jared is, so I can say whatever the hell I want on this channel. It was a shit show, man. I'm not gonna lie. Jagger Jones was dominant throughout the race. He gets dumped. Haley Deegan was racing super aggressive. She gets freaking taken out by Huddleston. Huddleston just had enough of her.
Now, can I say that she is in the wrong here?
Yes.
I have been saying this every time she crashes somebody for a win, being like, listen, I'm cool with it, but don't be upset when somebody does it to you.
Huddleston, just watching that replay, she just completely just dive bombs into Huddleston, and then Huddleston just is.
And I'll tell you on Twitter, there are a few of those drivers that are racing against her were liking a lot of tweets that were very anti-Haley Deegan. So yeah. I'm just saying, she ain't making friends. Don't get me wrong, I love the way she races, and I love the way a lot of these guys race down there too. But at the same time, you reap what you sow, and a lot of people getting upset at every driver that does anything to Haley Deegan. It's
that's not fair.
The way I put it is the same way. How would you react if it was Haley Deegan doing this, vice versa, flipped? Yeah. How would you react to that? That's how I have it. So I'm fine with it. If she gets dumped, for a win, it's a spin and win for somebody else. Then you know what? I root for Haley Deegan, but she races the same way.
I mean, right. Deegan has pointed out that she doesn't really have much friends on the K&N series circuit. Really, I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
I mean, she's too busy, winning races and stuff. But then also she's too busy running like that too. I mean, the thing is, to give it context, she comes from the dirt racing, the Lucas Oil dirt racing, and like there, that's all they do. They pretty much just rub off of each other and just bump each other, for the win and all that stuff. So, and stock car racing, it's a tad bit different. You do some bumping, but not all the time though. And like she's done that. Veteran Todd Souza got mad at her, and then Derek Kraus has gotten pissed off with her, and Jagger Jones has gotten pissed off with her as well, and now Huddleston too.
I am very, very interested in how she's going to be at these more aero-dependent tracks. I'm really, really interested of like you can't just move people out of the way at Chicagoland or Michigan. You can't move someone out of the way at a plate track. Like that's not gonna. There's gonna be more than just one driver mad at you. You do that. Like I'm really, really interested because I think that she has the talent to move up the ranks, no problem.
Right.
The deal is like I think the patience aspect. Because it's like you can get away with moving people to short track. You're not going to be able to get away with moving someone at a 1.5 mile, 2 mile.
At Michigan, Atlanta. Not gonna
it's not going to work out well, probably for either of you, because the person will probably spin into you.
Yeah, both are going to lose here.
You're not there to make friends. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's like I think you got to think long term because she's going to be racing most of these people for a long time.
Yes, very much so.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword. But I mean, Saturday was. I mean, that was maybe the crappiest performance from K&N I've seen. And I've watched most K&N races this year, but I kid you not, I tried to go to bed early because we had to get up early to leave for Charlotte the next day. I took NyQuil, fell asleep midway through the race, woke up, and they were still under red flag. So good. Well, yeah, I woke up and they were still under. I was like, am I like dreaming or they're just showing the replay and they were live? But yeah, I mean, I think she said it in her videos too. Like that's the way she races, and if that happens from anybody else, she would expect it because that's just the way she races. So, me, I like it though. I think it's good for the series. I think it keeps drivers on their toes, and it's funny because I think in Cup nowadays, everybody's, nice. It's like, all right, let me brake, let me let you by and stuff like that. Like, all right, I'll cut you a break. And K&N, I mean, it's like they all throttle,
it's
no
savage.
lift.
It's no give or
savage.
take, nothing like that.
Yeah, and I understand it too because they've got to prove themselves. Like if they're gonna do something, they've got to do it there. So I understand it to a degree, but there's got to be like a line to where it's like, all right, we're not just gonna like take each other out like it's like a Heat 4 race or something like that. So
that K&N race was basically a NASCAR Heat 4 lobby.
Yes, it was.
A public NASCAR Heat 4 short track lobby.
Mod of the NASCAR podcast brings up no one talks about Brittany Zamora either. I believe someone had to fact check this, but
she's all right.
Zamora, I've got beef with her. I DM'd her like back in April, and I was like, hey, so I do this NASCAR podcast for the lead. It'd be dope if we had you on. Would you mind like calling in for like 15, 20 minutes, whatever? DMs me back like 2 minutes later. Yeah, sure. Smiley face. I'm like, all right, cool. What time would work for you? Left on scene. Never replied ever since. So.
We've had a few of those in our time.
She runs well though. She holds her own.
Yeah,
she does. Well, and someone said in the chat she led more laps than Deegan this year. That's like someone had to fact check that.
Fact check it.
It's like she's. I mean. She's another one that's one of those under the radar drivers. I'm telling you, man, I'm really, really intrigued with how these K&N and soon to be under the ARCA umbrella drivers are going to be moving up. Yeah, 71 to 67 is what Nick Sant says, and he's been watching for a long time. He's very trustworthy with that. And that's nice. But yeah, I just love it. I love that we can look at these series and it's not just it's going to be weird 5 years from now seeing what we're saying and then like, oh, this person has dropped out of racing completely or something.
Yeah, I mean, and also wanted to point out Derek Kraus is not innocent in this race either. Completely dumped Jagger Jones for the lead there. Jagger Jones, I was like, oh, he's going to get his first win here. But then Derek Kraus was like, nope. And completely took him out. And then Jagger Jones, after the race, goes up to him and is like, hey, don't be surprised if I, turn you next race or, for the rest of the season here. We've had Jagger on the podcast. He's a pretty cool guy. So I was disappointed for him. DM'd him afterwards, said, hey, it's all good. You'll get yours, man. Don't worry. And I don't know. I think he's a good talent here. But I don't know. I mean, like, it's completely fair at this point for Jagger to get revenge, correct?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
just a,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if Kraus gets turned and like it gets out of the car and is like shocked, like I mean, I don't know how you can do that to somebody and then go into the next race, thinking like, all right, well, we're gonna get out of here clean. Like, I mean, you got to do that, then you got to be fully expecting a shot back. So, yeah, Jagger I mean, he's got every right to go and take a shot at Kraus like that.
I mean, it was just a shame too. Like, I mean, he didn't even get a top 5 run either. Like, he was just
Yeah,
completely taken out, and I was like, damn, like that sucks. So like he won the pole, got his first career K&N pole. He ends up dominating the whole race, and nothing to show for it. It's unfortunate, but
yeah,
still got some races left in the season. Hopefully, he can get that first win, and wish him nothing but the best. But yeah. Fish Production says Jagger Jones over Brendan Jones. Yes, I have to agree with that. Yeah, I'll agree with you on that, man. But hopefully he gets his stuff together too, and it's gonna be a fun last couple of races for the K&N in the K&N West Series. Got
yeah.
Huddleston versus Deegan. Well, I mean Deegan versus everyone at this point, right? Am I
Yeah,
right?
it's Deegan versus the world.
Yeah, pretty much Haley Deegan versus the world at this point, and then you got Jagger Jones versus Derek Kraus, who are two phenomenal talents as well. It's gonna be exciting, and then also their impact on social media too makes this even bigger too. Like, it makes these feuds even bigger. It makes their brands even bigger. So, like, I mean, obviously, because we're talking about it right now. So once they move up to Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup, it's gonna be a blast, man. We'll have to wait and see who actually moves up. I mean, Jarrett's high on Derek Kraus right now, but then Derek Kraus, he might not, he might be a bust, or like we're all hyping up Deegan. Deegan might not even ever make it to Cup. Like, I don't know. You never know with these drivers, because it's so far down the line. But we'll have to wait and see.
Right. It's like those like standout like athletes in high school and stuff, and they commit to like these D1 colleges, but some of them get there and they just fizzle out.
Mediocre, or they transfer, they go down to like Division 2 or something like that. Like, I don't know. You never know.
Right, it's just like that, and I love it. I think it's interesting to see. So, well, definitely have to stay tuned for that.
Yeah, very entertaining. We'll see what happens. All right. So, I guess. All right, we got a few more things to talk about. So, let's get right into the new rules package, and let's talk about Next Gen 2. So, you're gonna pull them up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says my internet connection's a little wonky, so if I start roboting, I might need you to pull it up, Darian.
Okay.
I'm not gonna share screen, but I'll just read it.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, the 2020 rules have been announced, and also just talks of the next gen card now. Now they're not calling it Gen 7; they're calling it the next gen card now. Are in process right now. So we'll have to wait and see on
All
that.
right.
But Jarrett, go over the 2020 rules here.
All right. Well, they start off with like the same thing. 2019 is Drew's great racing, yada yada yada. The same copy paste change year. But let's see. Among new regulations released for the teams in 2020, each car number will be allowed a maximum of 12 certified chassis designated as active at any given time. There was previously no limit. Each vehicle number will also be allowed to retain 4 that were designated as inactive, set aside for future use. I don't think there was a limit to those either, but they didn't specify. Let's see. Organizations will be limited to a total of 150 wind tunnel testing hours per year. There was previously no limit to that as well. Testing is only permitted at 4 approved wind tunnel facilities. Trust me, as a fan of Dave Spain, we need more wind tunnels. And then they go off to list them off. Officials have introduced new at-track roster limits for the 2020 season, reducing the maximum number of road crew personnel, engineers, mechanics, crew and car chiefs, spotters, etc., from 12 to 10 now during race weekends.
So people are getting laid off, basically.
Unfortunately, yeah. And on top of, with, Dallara coming in and a few other things, there's going to be, and possibly pit stops being taken away in the Xfinity and trucks, there's going to be a lot of people losing their jobs. And that, it doesn't sit well with me.
I mean, I knew NASCAR was downsizing, but damn, like that's crazy.
I love when it shows the ads like next to it, since I'm on Yahoo right now, and like the number one like added article, Percy Harvin says he was high in every NFL game. Goal.
Yeah.
Anyway, additionally, the new structure will limit the amount of organizational staff for each organization to 3. Previously, 3 or 4 car teams were allowed to carry a 4th rostered member at the organizational level, like a technical director, competition manager, one of those kind of roles. Teams must compete in a minimum of 8 events with a full long block sealed engine, and at least 8 events with a short block sealed engine. Previously, the rules dictated 3 full long block seals and 13 short block sealed engines. Coming down here, also, this is the last one they have. The extended parts freeze for NASCAR Cup Series will remain in place through 2020 as development continues to shift towards the next gen stock car. Gen 7, just say Gen 7. It rolls off the tongue better. You don't need
Gen
new
7
catchphrase.
next gen.
You don't need a new catchphrase for everything, but those are like the big ones that were popping off. But I mean, I finally am seeing people on Twitter being like, I don't really like people losing their jobs, and it's like, we've been saying this for weeks.
I don't like people losing their jobs, and then I'm not really a fan of the direction NASCAR's going with this. For 2021 in IndyCar, 900 plus horsepower in their cars. NASCAR's going to have like 500?
Yeah.
For 2021 for this next gen or Gen 7 car, whatever the hell you want to call it at this point.
I just liked how Humpy Wheeler put it a few years ago. If you're gonna cut the costs, like, why not cut costs? Like if a $50 part in a normal car costs a few thousand in one of these race cars, try to get it so where you can use normal car parts that are in normal street cars if you can in certain areas, like stuff like that. Stuff like that. Like what they're doing in a lot of these areas, like there's a lot of areas that they can cut costs without having to cut a bunch of people's jobs. That's kind of what I'm saying here. Like, yes, with downsizing, you knew they were going to have to, but at the same time, it's like the fact that they're talking about hundreds, possibly thousands of people losing jobs. Like that's good. Especially if they're specialized workers with this kind of stuff, is going to do a number on especially the Charlotte economy. Because that is a big part.
And also this Gen 7 car has to work out. It has to. Jarrett uploaded a video today saying it has to work out. No ifs, ands, or buts or buts about it. Like it has to work out.
Well, think about it. With it coming out in 2021, that means that is around when the talks of a new deal for the TV and broadcasting rights is going. So if that happens, that completely shifts the leverage. If NASCAR is great racing and ratings go up, NASCAR gets leverage. But if this Gen 7 car is a complete and utter failure, it gives all the leverage to every other broadcaster to want to slash their rates. And then we're going to have even more downsizing probably than NASCAR would plan to have. So there's a lot at stake with this car. And I don't think I think people think they grasp how much it is, but I think they don't realize just how many aspects of this. This will reach every single aspect of the sport, even the fans aspect of it. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a very big deal with this, and again, I just go back to what I said earlier. IndyCar's direction, I'm loving what they're doing here. Putting the little, they're not calling it halos, right? They're calling it like screen protectors on their cars, and then upgrading to over 900 horsepower for the 2021 season. The only thing I wish they had is just more races, but only have so much money in the world, I guess, to run the certain amount of races they have. But then you have NASCAR, who at first said this is going to be temporary. This is just a Band-Aid right now, and then they're basically just like double downing on on this current package we have right now.
Well, I think that the new engine at least is going to be designed to have 550 horsepower instead of like basically 900 horsepower engine like we have now, having to be sort of neutered for this.
Yeah, so it's going to be specifically designed for this, not basically neutered.
Hopefully that means that they would design it to a way that there'd be more on and off throttle time. Because you look at the cars in the 90s, the great golden age of NASCAR was about similar in horsepower, at least in the early 90s, I think they were saying, to what NASCAR is going to now. Now, I know there's differences. That's not an apples to apples comparison here, but it's just one of those deals where it's like they're not doing like the tapered spacer kind of deal, I don't think, with this new engine, which is coming out, I think, in 2022 instead of 2021. But man, I hate to admit, the closer and closer we get, the fact that we still don't have any definitive details is getting me so much more nervous for this Gen 7 car, man.
And reading some fan opinions here, Corvette Racing 48 with the 9.99 super chat. Thanks, man. His super chat says Gen 7 has to have low downforce. The real life production cars don't have giant spoilers and splitters, and they're trying to make Gen 7 look like the production cars.
Team Valence.
Yeah, Team Valence. Yes, hashtag Team Valence all the way, man. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, they're trying to make this, more of a stock car rather than a race car, because NASCAR in the past few years has gotten away from, the core basis of what a stock car used to be, and they're just, it's just a complete race car at this point. I guess they're trying to, incorporate some similar aspects that a street stock car has, or a street car has, excuse me. But yeah, I don't know, like, I'm sort of 50-50 on it, because then, like, I don't know, like, I'm more trusting of the higher ups we have now. So, like, Jim France and
Steve Phelps. Definitely.
Yeah, Steve Phelps. I was about to say Steve O'Donnell, which I'm sort of 50-50 on him, but I mean, no, Steve Phelps, of course, talking with him at the Speedway too. I don't know. I feel like they'll get it right eventually, hopefully. And C Baker with the C Baker 38 with the $1.99 super chat says, "I hate to say it, but NASCAR is dying." I don't know. I disagree with that. I disagree with that one.
Let's wait till after the Gen 7's been around for a while, and the new broadcasting rights, before we even talk about. So I think that's a little overkill right there.
All right, Connor, go ahead, and then I'll read the super chat.
All right. I was just gonna say, off the rip, I'm not a fan of the direction they're going with the cars, and on top of that, them slashing jobs and stuff. I don't like that at all. But I haven't been a big fan of the package anyway. I know produce quote unquote better racing, but I'm a fan of you've got to have skill behind the wheel, like to drive things. And I think when you take the skill out of the hands of the driver and make it more equal from a car, like the manufacturer and car playing field, I think they're trying to balance the talent. And I don't like, why do we gravitate towards people like Patrick Mahomes? Why do we gravitate towards people like Tom Brady and Odell Beckham? It's because they're talented, and it's because they're above the rest of their sport. So why do we gravitate towards Kyle Busch? Why do we gravitate towards Martin Truex? Because they're talented, and their skill behind the wheel is above those of others in our sport. So I don't like how it takes the driving ability away from the driver, because I think that's hurt people like Kyle Busch this year. I think, he's one of those guys who just wheels it better than anybody else. And I think when you take that out of him and just make his car equal everybody else and stuff, it's just like, oh crap, well, I got to rely on runs and air and stuff like this. And, I'm just not a fan of that, because me personally, I think, I enjoy watching the true talent of drivers rather than like, okay, well, their cars are equal. Like, because it's almost like entering like a race at pole position, like the go-kart track. It's, it's whatever. It's like slam and bang, get in a car that's the same, and just and go try and bang your way or whatever into the race and win. So
we're gonna go there on Tuesday, by the way. We'll go.
Yeah,
there.
we are. We're gonna have to go to pole position and grab some beers afterwards.
Yeah, we'll hit that up.
But yeah, I'm just not a fan of it all around and stuff. And like, there has been some upsides. Yeah, sure, it's produced some better all around racing. But my biggest thing too is just this taking the skill out of the hand of the driver. It's just I hate that for the sport.
Yeah, I hate it too. I mean, NASCAR eliminated that basically for entertainment purposes, just to make the cars, closer on the racetrack. Right. And it's entertaining, but then like, fans like, all of us here, hardcore fans like us, like, we're, we appreciate drivers' talent and stuff. Like, no matter if they win a race by, 1/1000th of a second, or basically one whole second or one whole lap.
Right.
It sucks, but I don't know. I guess that's the direction they want to go, and hopefully it works out for them, because like it has to work out. Otherwise, I don't know. NASCAR could, we could see another shift in popularity here, because I mean, in Jarrett's video, he said today, like popularity has increased a little bit, and the ratings have stabilized, and the racing's a bit better. But I mean, is it going to be long term? I don't know yet. So one last super chat. Wow, with the $5 super chat, he says, if you make the cars more like GT3/GT4 cars, you can get more real life production car, plus perhaps draw more manufacturers into the sport. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. But yeah, so that'll just about do it for that topic, and we're pretty much done.
Yeah, we just basically got to just touch on a few things. Like I can just read off really quick.
All right, go ahead.
Thank God they're getting rid of the zebra stripe car with Kyle Busch.
Yay! Thank goodness.
Yes, thank God.
Yes.
I hate that interstate battery.
I
It's
never
weird.
understood that one.
I don't know. Somebody
Like,
made it. I don't know.
I looked at it and it looks like from what it looks like, the new interstate batteries car is sort of going to be like the esports one. So obviously with better placed sponsors on it. But on top of that, looks like Ross Chastain is staying with Colleague Racing, which I think is loyal, but I think is a smart move on his career part, just because Leo look at his Cup options. There's nowhere competitive really for him to go in Cup. Like the 37, yes, I get, but Ross Chastain's in my opinion is in a different spot right now than Matt Benedetto, where like they're both fan favorites, but Ross Chastain has proven he can win.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, but then there's that, and then on top of talking about cutting costs, Tommy Joe Martins on Twitter was saying that getting rid of pit stops in the Xfinity and Truck Series could save teams up to $100,000, a year. But Adam Stern said it's unlikely for 2020. But the fact they're talking this publicly about it, it's going to happen.
More jobs lost. I mean, I know downsizing. I know you have to, but damn, I didn't think it would be this much. I didn't think it would be.
But I think they're also doing it for commercial time too. The caution breaks that they'll have, right? The K&N does. And then this last one, I really like. Darian, could you? I guess because I didn't see it too well. I only caught a brief little snippet of it, but that Natalie Decker is doing a really cool thing for sponsorship for the Homestead race. You guys want to go in depth about this, because I think it's really cool.
Actually,
talk about more.
Actually, Connor, I was gonna let you have this one here, since you have a little announcement, I guess, later, or you announced it all already,
yeah.
Correct? Okay. So for those of you who don't know, he interviewed Natalie Decker today, correct?
Yes.
For his podcast, the For the Lead podcast, and
For the Lead.
For the Lead podcast there, and just talk about what y'all went over and about the little deal she has going on.
Yeah. So we interviewed her today, and we talked to her about how she battled juvenile rheumatoid arthritis and how it's an issue. And for Homestead, she's running a special paint scheme where if you go to her website, you can actually purchase your name on the car of that paint scheme for Homestead. And with that, I believe you get like a t-shirt and like a die cast with it too as well. So what she's trying to do is she's trying to raise awareness for rheumatoid arthritis and it being a thing. And she battled it herself and is still battling it. She was telling us that when she was younger, she could only bend her arm to like a 45-degree angle.
Wow.
And even to this day, like in the mornings and stuff, like she battles it and she just, has to keep fighting it and take over-the-counter medicine to help her out. So she's definitely trying to raise awareness for rheumatoid arthritis. And I think it really hits home when, she's gone through it herself too. So she's definitely supporting a great cause for Homestead. And if you want to head over to her website, I believe, Natalie Decker, it's Natalie Decker, and I believe it has something. Well, I'm about to get the paper right here. Here we go. So if any of you guys want to head over to her website, it is nataliedecker.com/arthritis foundation. So if you guys want to head over there, you can support a great cause and get your name purchased on the truck for Homestead. So that's what she's doing. And I'm behind it. I think it's great.
Good deal. Yeah, that's a good deal, man. Yeah. So that'll just about do it for all the topics. Now we can get into picks. We are starting to get really deep into this edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. This week we have Dover. The round of 12 kicks off in the Monster Energy Cup Series, and Carl Singleton with the $2 super chat says round of 12 predictions. Well, we're gonna make some predictions, I guess, for this one for the first race of the round of 12. So
I like Boney Chuck's comment there. October Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Save the boobies.
The boobies, yes, that's right.
I remember being in school and we had all those like bracelets that everyone passed around
I
for
remember
it.
those. Yes, I remember those. So 2012, man. So 2012.
I was thinking more 2008. We got a call in right now.
We got a call.
Colin, what is your name? Who are you? And where are you calling from?
This is Dannington B.
Oh God.
Hello.
I have one thing to tell you guys.
Yeah.
What is it?
Alex Bowman.
Oh
That
God.
is all.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. You heard it from Danny B or Danny or whatever he just said. Alex Bowman. For everything.
Is that all?
Go Bowman. That's all.
Yeah. Go Bowman. Yeah.
He just hung up.
Yeah. I don't need to say any more. Carl Singleton with another $2 super chat says, also for Jarrett, who wins the World Series? Certainly not the Cubs this year, but
no one from the NL. I'm going Yankees.
Okay. All right. So now for who's gonna suck at Dover? Jarrett, start us off.
Who's gonna suck? This feels so wrong to say, but this guy hasn't had a lead lap finish in his last 2 Dover races. Don't think he's going to this time. This feels so wrong to say. Jimmy Johnson's going to suck at Dover.
I knew you were going to say that too. Last year, he didn't even get started. Didn't even get the race started.
Right. It doesn't feel right, but it's not even like recently, recently for the most part. Even in like 2015, I remember he struggled at Dover. I know he won, in the different times too, but Jimmy Johnson struggling at Dover. This doesn't feel right. I feel sick. I feel ill.
Oh.
I feel like I just watched a game that Kirk Cousins played in.
You can't get over You can't get over Kirk Cousins, y'all. Can't get over.
I'd rather have Uncle Rico as my quarterback.
So my who's gonna suck pick. I'm just gonna go with the safe one, Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon, he's like 50-50 here. Like he'll have decent runs and then he'll have, god awful runs here. And RCR basically sucks right now, so Austin Dillon seems like a safe pick. Connor?
Oh, man, you guys kind of got me with this one. Who's going to suck this week? I'm actually going to go with a bit of surprise here. I'm going to go with Quentin Boyer. I think he's really going to struggle this round in general. I think he's really going to do bad this week at Dover. Ooh. Even though he's kind of run well in the past, I think he's going to suck it up this week.
Oh, okay. All right, so for underdog picks, Jarrett, who do you got?
It's funny you said Clint Boyer because he's actually in my dark horse pick here.
Right.
He's quietly been under the radar for most of his career at Dover. He runs well a lot of the time, and I think that this weekend, I don't think he'll win. I don't think he'll be even close to the top 5, but I think he'll have like a 9th to 12th place run. A decent run.
I'm going to go with William Byron as my dark horse. Seems like they're still going for points rather than wins, and it was kind of frustrating to watch last week too because I felt like Byron did have a car capable of winning early on, and even Real Radman on Twitter was pretty pissed off about it, but he was like, it's like, why? Just like go for the win instead of points. But no, Knaus wants those points. He wants to stay safe, so he's going to play it safe, score a top 10 finish, hopefully move on from the round of 12 in this one. William Byron.
Underdog pick this week, I'm going to go with Kyle Larson. He ran well at Dover in the spring when he was really struggling. I think that team's kind of found a little bit of speed here lately. I think they could be definitely a top 5 threat this week, maybe even get a win. Who knows?
All right, and speaking of, get a win, now we are into winners picks. Eric said Denny Hamlin already. Danny said, he said, Alex Bowman. He's like, Alex B, or, whatever, because he just called in. So we already know those two. So, Jarrett, you start us off. Who's going to win this weekend?
I think Danny's right in a sense. I think a Hendrick car is going to win this weekend, but I don't think it's going to be Alex Bowman. I think it's going to be the guy who finished directly ahead of Alex Bowman at the Roval. I think I'm going to be so popular for this pick that Chase Elliott's going to win. He's been really good at Dover. It's one of his better tracks. And I think that at least it looks like he's hitting his stride, or like towards the end of the year. He does this where he'll pick it up towards the end of the year, and then something always keeps him out of the Final Four. Who knows? Maybe this will be the year that he's in. But I think that he's picking it up like he always does, and I think 2 in a row for Chase.
I'm gonna go with Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin was a bit underwhelming in the first
is-
round. He's my championship pick, and I feel like Dover. He's pretty good there. Finished second last fall to Chase Elliott, so I think it's gonna be reversed this time. So Denny Hamlin, he's gonna win.
With this pick, I'm either going to be way right or I'm going to be way off. But I'm going to Vegas next week with Darian, and so I'll gamble with this one. I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. I think he won this race 2 years ago. He struggled there in the spring. I think maybe they kind of take the 19's information and maybe implement it in theirs. They need a win. Just for confidence sake, I know points wise and stuff, he's good, but I think for team confidence sake, they haven't won since June. So I'm going to pick Kyle Busch to rebound and get a win this weekend at Dover.
Yeah, I just realized that too. It's really been that long. I mean, they've just been running up there. I mean, in Jarrett's Winston Cup points, universe, Kyle Busch is still the points leader, but like his lead has shrunk.
Only if that was real, right?
Yeah.
Only if that was real.
But his lead has shrunk though.
Yeah, he had like over 400 point or so lead around Michigan, and now it's down to 138-39. So he's less than, he went from being up by almost 3 races to now he's not even a full race up over Truex.
Yeah, it can change just like that. Yeah, he's choking.
28-3.
Yeah, 28-3. I don't know. It's not that bad, I don't think. But
no, it's worse.
It's worse. All right. Well.
Oh man, that's. I guess at this point, do you want me to announce what we got on tap?
Yes. I was gonna let you do that since it's on your channel next week.
All right. Yeah, we are on this channel. By the way, you can get this at my Teespring store.
Get the hoodie.
Shameless plug. But we are on my channel next week. We have 2 guests. Vince
guests.
Welch and Ty Gibbs will be on the show next week. Be sure to watch. It's going to be a blast. Both those guys are really cool, and they're going to be really, really fun guests to have on.
Yes,
So,
Vince Welch, TV commentator, obviously the Truck Series commentator, former pit road reporter. Well, I mean, he still does it for Fox,
He
but
still
he still does it. Yeah, I keep thinking of his main commentating side. And then Ty Gibbs, another up and comer that some of y'all were talking about in the chat there. He's going to be on as well. Blue Jimmy 48 fan with the $5 super chat. Thanks, man. Awesome podcast. Going to Dover on Saturday and Sunday. That's awesome. That's good, man. Hope Dover doesn't disappoint. But back to the guest though. I can't wait to have him on. And then the other white hat. I can't even talk. The other White Castle. I was about to say something else there. With the $1.99 super chat. Thanks, man. Amazing podcast. That is all. Thank you. I appreciate that. So Vince Welch and Ty Gibbs on the podcast next week on Jarrett's channel, and we got.
be sure to spread the word.
Yeah, spread the word, guys, and we got some good lineups here late in the season. We can't say who else is going to be on just yet.
Let me look. Obviously I won't say, but let me look because I think next week starts like this run to the finish where we each week
finish strong. Got to finish strong, man.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just looking at November 13th.
Yes.
Anyway,
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So where can they find you, man? Where can they find you on the social media machines?
Yeah, man. So I have just recently dipped into this thing called YouTube. Not sure if you guys have heard of it, but
I'll put your link later. After this, I'll put your link in after this.
Appreciate that. I just posted a video today, a vlog from the Roval. If you guys want to go check that out. So you can find me at YouTube, Connor Bunn on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram at Connor Bunn _. That's where I'm most active. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been really fun. This is a podcast that I've watched for, over the last year and stuff. So I was like, it would always be cool to go on there. And then, next week I'll be in Vegas hanging out with Darian. So I appreciate you guys having me on tonight. It's been a whole lot of fun. I'm sure you guys are going to continue to do great things with this podcast. And, you guys do so well on YouTube. I bounce between all you guys' channels on the dailies. So keep up the grind, and I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no
Thank
problem,
you,
man.
We gotta have you on again, man.
Yeah, definitely. One last super chat from Random Studio 6. Cosmic brownies or honey buns?
Twinkies.
Cosmic brownies or honey buns? I'm gonna go with honey buns because my last name's Bunn, so I'd be remiss.
I saw this in the chat earlier, and I'm like, what are y'all talking about? See, this just happens on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast chat. You know, you have random debates such as this one too. So outside of racing, but you can only find this stuff on the NASCAR weekly podcast. So you love to see it. But anyways, that'll do it for another edition of the NASCAR weekly podcast. I'm going to mute the right chat this time, or I'm going to mute the right things this time, and not cuss a bunch, towards the end here. So let's see if I can pull it off. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time. Cue the outro.
Green flag, I'll roll.